Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're at Stockton University, and my guest today is Jeanne Lewis. She's the Director of Financial Aid. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Very happy to be here with you.
Great. So usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Well, I went to the College of New Jersey, but when I went, it was Trenton State College.
Okay, great. So let's just go back in time before we get into financial aid. Back in high school, were your parents involved, and when did it all start? Was it sophomore year, junior year, senior year? When did you start thinking about college?
Well, my parents always said to me that you're going to college. So I always knew I was going. It was a matter of what college I would go to. And since I felt like I was a Jersey girl, so to speak, I absolutely wanted to stay in New Jersey. And in doing so, I researched the different colleges and universities in the state to see where I would like to go. And since I lived in South Jersey, I tried to choose a university or college that was in close proximity to my home.
Okay.
So in working with my parents and making the decision as to affordability and location and major, of course, and my major was psychology, and that was something new at that time. So I decided on Trenton State.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So you picked Trenton State. When did you start getting involved in the classes and the core of psychology to graduate? Was it freshman year, or did it just start later?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was freshman year, because at Trenton State at the time, when you're a freshman, you declare your major. They gave us something called a control sheet, and what it was a pathway all through the first, second, third, and fourth year in order to get a degree in psychology, which was great. I really appreciated having that because I knew right away in my freshman year I would be studying psychology, Psych 1 and 2, and it gave me the confidence that I chose the right major.
Great.
And then as I proceeded along, with concluding my education, of course, I got deeper into the psychology courses. So, yeah, I started right with freshman year. Mm-hmm.
Great. So now you graduate college.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from college to Director of Financial Aid for Stockton University?
Yeah, well, interesting story, because I thought that I would graduate in 3.5 years. That was my plan, and I did. And the way I did that was I went to college in the summer. So I went 2 summers, and that took care of an entire semester. So really not realizing it, I saved my parents, and this is a good tip for everyone, I saved my parents an entire semester of tuition, fees, room, board, and books, okay? So I did that, and I thought, well, 3.5 years, I'll get out, and I will be way ahead of my counterparts because they're not graduating until June. I'll get my job and I'll be on my way. Well, what I didn't realize is that with a bachelor's degree in psychology, you really can't go very far. So I did apply for jobs, and they said, okay, great resume and all that, but you do not have a master's degree, so we can't hire you, sorry. So I thought, all right, then I need to get my master's degree. So what I did in that spring semester, it was too late to start taking classes towards my master's degree, so I did substitute teaching. I became a permanent substitute, so I was earning some money. And then that summer, I enrolled for 15 credits, and I started on my way to earning my master's degree. Then in the fall, I noticed in the local newspaper that there were advertisements for then Stockton State College, that it was being built and there would be openings and the like. So I applied. So I'm naturally right out of college, and I'm just starting on my way to my master's degree, and I was enrolled for master's credits in that fall. So I was granted an interview. So who interviewed me but the first president of the university at the time, because there was no one to interview me. There was no one else there. So I was hired, and I was to do financial aid, career services, campus housing, all of that. And of course, the president at the time said, well, you don't have your master's degree. I see you're on your way, and he waggled his finger, you must get your master's degree. And of course, I certainly did. So I did all of those things, but as you can imagine, the demand was for financial aid because students really do need that assistance to afford college or university. So with that in mind, I just gravitated and went to with the flow and became director of financial aid.
Wow. So how long you been the director of financial aid now?
45 years.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So now let's get into financial aid then. So the biggest thing that parents always ask is schools are expensive these days. Is there anything that Stockton University does where the price of the university becomes more reasonable for students?
Yes. Well, here at Stockton, we have institutional grants and we have scholarships. So when students apply to the university through the admissions office, they should also do their FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And by the way, now you can apply as early as October 1st. So that's really good, and that's coming up. So anyone who's a senior out there, you'll want to apply soon after October 1st. And what the admissions office does is they will look at the students' grades, the SAT scores, high school class rank, that sort of thing. Also look at a student's financial need. So everything all-encompassing to make a decision as to grant eligibility, institutional grant eligibility, and institutional scholarship eligibility. And the admissions office will notice the student, and then we also in financial aid follow up with a complete financial aid package, including those grants and scholarships that were offered through our admissions office. So we recognize that there certainly is an expense to college or university, and we strive to assist to meet that gap as well as we can. So it's a combination of the student perhaps working in the summer, the family making a contribution, the institution providing some assistance, plus the federal and state financial aid that the student may be eligible for. So with that combination, we hope to make college affordable for our students.
So now, is everything based on the family contribution? Is it all based on that when they fill out their FAFSA form, or do other factors come into effect?
Well, for federal and state financial aid, it is the family contribution that really is the driver. And when folks fill out the FAFSA, you have to remember that everything that is asked on the FAFSA goes into a congressional methodology. So it's not just the income and taxes paid, it is the household size, the number in college, the age of the older parent, those kinds of things that you might not think, well, how does that really fit? It all does, and it's very important when the FAFSA application is completed that families be very accurate. When you're not, that's when you can be selected for something called verification or audit, and it slows down the process somewhat because we have to collect documents in order to verify the information. So I'll just put that out there as a caution, because I want you all to be very careful when you're completing the FAFSA to ensure that you're doing it very accurately.
Yeah. So the FAFSA, is that all through the government, and then is it attached to anything? Is it attached to your pay income and things like that? How does the FAFSA actually work on the government site?
Okay, so what you do is you fill out the FAFSA. The parent and student should work together in completing that. You select the colleges or universities that you want to receive the results of the FAFSA information. So let's say you're listing Stockton and whoever you would like. All of that information goes to a central processor. They crunch the numbers and out comes an expected family contribution. And then that information is brought in by the Financial Aid Office electronically. So we have all the data. When a student is then admitted to the university, once that takes place, then it comes together. The student is admitted, the student has applied for financial aid, the student gets a letter from admissions saying, congratulations, you're accepted to the university, and then the Financial Aid Office, we send out a notification by mail and email to be sure that you get it, saying this is the financial aid that you're getting. So it's all the institutional grants and scholarships, and it is the federal and state financial aid, whatever the student is eligible for. So that expected family contribution is very critical.
Now, you talked about scholarships. What type of scholarships are available at the school? Is there a wide variety of scholarships, or is there certain scholarships?
Well, actually, there is a wide variety, and all the student has to do is do the admissions application and the FAFSA application, and then the institution takes it from there. So there's no concern about understanding or knowing, oh, I should apply for this scholarship or that. No, we take that worry away from you. We will make that determination and let you know. But I do want to add that in the Financial Aid Office, we have what we call a Scholarship Resource Center. And what we do, and I'll tell you, at least a half a dozen times a day, I get emails from different companies saying, we offer a scholarship, we offer a scholarship. So we vet them out to make sure they're absolutely legitimate and wherein they are. Then we post those scholarships online. So if you go to Stockton EDU and you click on financial aid and go to Scholarship Resource Center, and anybody can do this, all right? So please take advantage of it. You'll be able to see the scholarships, all right? So we find them for you, then you decide when you look at the scholarship, is this something I want to apply for? Do I think I may qualify for it? So go ahead and do that, because if you're picking up another $500, $1,000, or $2,000, it really is going to make the difference. And also, we have upper class scholarships. So let's say you're admitted to the university, but you don't get a scholarship the first year. But as an upperclassman, which you actually become mid-year, then you can apply for an upper class scholarship. So we want you to do well, study hard, get good grades, because it can pay off with the upper class scholarships.
So does the grades mean a lot with some of these scholarships? In the upper class scholarships, it's all based off of your grade, A, B, whatever you're getting?
Yes, it's very competitive. They're looking for excellent GPAs. And as necessary, they may check the FAFSA as well.
Great. So the scholarships that are on the website, is it really a list of all the different companies that you've done? Can that list change from year to year? Is it just 10 on there? Is it 110? Is it 1,000? How many?
It's over 100.
Really?
It's quite a few, yes. And it certainly can change from year to year because, well, actually, we just continue to add scholarships.
Wow.
But I want to give families one tip, and that is, if you're looking for a scholarship, what I want you to do is go to your closets, to your refrigerator, to your cabinets, and look at the products that you're using, whatever they may be. They have websites, they have contact information. You're using the product, go to their contact pages and look to see what they offer, because many, many companies offer it. And you have the resource right in your home. You just have to take advantage of the information that you have there.
Now, do extracurricular activities work to get money at the college as well? Sports, fine arts, theater, dance, do any of that come into play?
Well, the primary scholarships are based on academic and to some extent financial need. Those are basically the two criteria. Yep.
Okay. So all the rest of the extracurricular thing is just added towards seeing who can get more on that.
Well, sometimes what happens with the upper class scholarships, depending on the donor might say, my scholarship, it needs to be offered to a student who's studying theater. So if that's the case, then that is accommodated.
Gotcha, I gotcha. Great. So now the process of financial aid at the high school level, how do high schools find out about Stockton University? What do they do? Is it just a website, or do people actually go there? Do they talk about financial aid night or anything like that? How does it work at the high school level?
Oh, at the high school level? Well, the counselors know Stockton very well because the admissions folks, who are also well versed in financial aid, visit all of the many of the high schools and provide them with the information necessary. There are college nights, there are presentations throughout the year. HESA, Higher Education Student Assistance Authority, folks from that area go out and talk to the high school guidance counselors. Actually, what we've been doing here at Stockton, usually in October, the high school guidance counselors, of which about 100 of them come to our university, and Higher Education Student Assistance Authority is the sponsor, and they provide in-depth information to the high school guidance counselors all about financial aid, federal, state, general financial aid. And for the high school guidance counselors, our admissions office provides information, and if they want tours of the university, because as you can see there's so much happening on campus, the tours are provided as well. So the guidance counselors are very much aware of Stockton University and what's happening on our campus.
So now, when parents come here, their sons or daughters get accepted to the university, do you get a line at the financial aid? How does that all how does that all work?
Well, technology is the engine that runs the financial aid office. So while we are always happy to see families come and visit us, certainly, contact us by phone or email, we do most of our work through technology. So if we need something from a parent or a student, we would provide an email. They would provide the documents electronically, that kind of thing.
I gotcha.
But we certainly sit down with families, and we always have families, students, and parents certainly coming to the office. And usually their questions are of a specific nature to them, because anything of a general nature is on the website.
Right.
So if you wanted to learn about direct loans, let's say, you could find that information on the website. And by the way, generally, just by doing the FAFSA application for financial aid, regardless of family income, all right, if you're an incoming freshman, you're going to get $5,500 for the academic year in an unsubsidized Stafford loan.
Wow.
Yeah. So unsubsidized means you're paying the interest from the time of the loan, which is preferable, or you are allowing it to accrue. And that's for any college or university across the nation. So if you feel as a student or a parent that there would be need for a direct loan, please go ahead and do the FAFSA, or do it anyway. It's just important because you don't want to miss out on any opportunity to receive financial aid.
Now, do you do some type of orientation when they come to the university as well?
Oh, I'll tell you what we do. We do have an orientation. It's called Orientation and Registration. And for our families, when they come to the orientation, it's wonderful, it's extremely comprehensive, Students get to register, and at some point during that process, we in financial aid, we have booths set up, and our families come and meet with us one-on-one.
Wow.
So we go over their financial aid, what it means, we answer their questions, provide them comprehensive information. If they're missing a document, we're able to tell them. If they're turning one in, we're able to accept it. And they really love the experience, and they're able to leave that experience feeling satisfied that they have all the information that they need, or we've given them confirmation that their financial aid is in order. So we really enjoy it, and there we do have a line. We absolutely have a long line, and that's perfect for us because we want to be comprehensive.
Now, the financial aid award letter that goes to the families, what usually happens when the families get it? Is that automatic, a phone call that comes right directly to the financial aid office, or do they wait until they come to school to discuss it? How does that all work?
Well, usually when they get the award notification letter, if they have any questions, they're going to ask the questions right away. But what the award letter provides to the student is all the financial aid for which the student is eligible, along with instructions that come with it. We also provide an estimate of the student's cost of attendance, which it's early on, so it truly is an estimate before our Board of Trustees meets to determine what the cost will be for the next year. But at least the students and families can get an idea of the costs for the academic year, an academic year defined as fall and spring terms, and the financial aid for the academic year. And then they can see if they have any gaps and how they're going to fill it. Students and families might decide to pay using a payment plan with our bursar's office, which allows families to make monthly payments. So if that works for a family, that's great. If perhaps a family needs an alternative loan, it would be the student's loan with a credit-worthy co-borrower. And students and families can choose from any lender that they would like to borrow from, and then they just apply online, and when they're credit-worthy, then they can borrow up to the cost of attendance. Now, of course, we ask them to please borrow conservatively, because when you're starting out as a freshman, you have a long way to go, including perhaps you must consider perhaps getting a master's degree. So that could be another 2 years on top of your 4 years.
So do you explain to parents that sometimes there's extra costs to the university that maybe they didn't think of? Being that, do the students stay on the campus? Do they go outside, off campus? Do they go out at night? That kind of stuff. Those are extra costs that families sometimes don't even realize, right?
So we provide them with the estimated costs for tuition, fees, room, board, books, and of course there are other costs that are associated if they want to get a pizza, a haircut, or whatever. And we do talk to our families about that. And we also talk to them about reducing their costs, okay? Because with the incidentals, if a student perhaps is working under the Federal Work-Study Program, which is a need-based financial aid program, they receive a paycheck every 2 weeks. So we ask them to manage that money and to use that for their incidental expenses.
Interesting.
And we also encourage students to work in the summer. That way, that may be able to defray their book costs. So they're all different ways to, I guess, reduce the costs. You know, where the student is living. You know, on campus, we have different venues where students can have different price points in on-campus housing, as well as meal plans. So look at those costs. So while we always talk about the affordability of college and how much more financial aid we can get, if we can reduce the costs and maximize the financial aid, especially applying for those scholarships, then you've reduced the gap and you've made college more affordable.
Great. So we're coming to the end of our show. And usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to families that sons and daughters are thinking about coming to Stockton University? What advice would you like to give them?
Okay, well, first of all, families, what I'd like to say is my primary advice is you must plan early. By the time you get to me in financial aid, you don't have enough money to go to college. So if you have younger children, it is important to make a plan to start saving now, investing now, so that when you get to the point of college or university, in that way you can make it more affordable. And for those of you that are junior or senior year right now, absolutely apply for financial aid in the senior year, anytime after October 1. Comply with all requests for information, study hard, get good grades, apply for those scholarships, go ahead and look at our resource center for scholarships. That's very important. You just have to continue to dig and work diligently toward getting those scholarships.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much.
Good. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.